Hello, welcome back once again. This is Samuel Ambrose. We have done our exercise 2, and I have some discussion to make because I know some of you may be wondering how I did thousands in Roman numerals. Yes, my friend, I was just trying to avoid what is called ubiquitousness of presenting numbers, like making the same kind of symbol to be appearing everywhere. That's why I decided to use the bar MMX bar. But there are other ways of representing that makes Roman numerals ambiguous. We have ambiguousness. So the same thing may be interpreted in a different way. So let's try to rehearse or go through the same thing over and over again. Let me increase this font size to be the same. Size to be the same as 16 for every one of them, and I remember I put so my friend, this is the exercise we are supposed to do. We did as exercise 2, but I'm putting it as exercise 3 at the moment because I want to make sure that you get it right. So write the following in Roman numerals. We know that 0 in Roman numeral does not exist. So you just write null. Null or nulla. Nulla means nothing. It doesn't exist. But if you are to represent this in the computer format, normally in programming we write it as null. Null being 0 or nothing, which symbolizes the default value of a particular data type in Java, for example. So null means nothing. In some situation, you will find that they write letter N just to symbolize null. So this N means nothing, which symbolize null in Roman numerals. So number 1 in Roman numerals is small letter I. Number 2, double I. Number 3, triple I. Number 4, IV. V is for 5, I is for 1. So we are taking away 1 from 5 to make 4. And number 5 is V. So this is one of the key symbols that you need to master, V. And number 6 is 5 plus 1, which is 6. 5 plus I, 6. 5 plus double I, which is 2, plus 5 give us 7. V plus 8 is 5 plus 3. 3 is represented by triple I. That's why we have V triple I. That is for 8. And for 9, we cannot repeat I more than 3 times. Any number, any symbol in Roman numerals cannot be repeated more than 3 times. And the only number that can be repeated is I, X, C, X, which is for 10, and then we have L cannot be repeated for 50, capital L obviously, and we have C for 100. C can be repeated 3 times at most, and we have M for 1000, and then we have D for 500. So the number which cannot be repeated in Roman numerals are, you cannot repeat V. Let me mark it with yellow. You cannot repeat L. That is a warning. And you cannot repeat D. D cannot be repeated, right? The only number that you can repeat are I. You can repeat I. That's why we repeated it many times. And you can repeat X. Let me put it in green, just to say that we can do something with it. And then we can repeat C as well. We can repeat it at most 3 times. And we can repeat M as well, at most 3 times. But VLD cannot be repeated. We just play with other numbers on either side of them, left or right. To increase, we add. To reduce, we subtract from the left. That's why we said VIII there is 5 plus 3, which is this one, makes us give us 8. Similarly, since we cannot repeat I more than 3 times, now we have to find a way to get 9 because 9 is less than 10. So we need to subtract 1 from 10 in order to make 9. And to do that, we write I first, which is the symbol of 1. Obviously, is a small I, and then put X there. Yeah, the X is not capital; it is small x for 10. So that's 9 for you. Now 11 is X for 10. We need to add 1 on the right. That is 11, and then 12. You just keep on doing it like that. 13, 3i, and so 14 is 10 plus 4, and 4 is iv. That's 14 for us. And then 15 is x, which is 10 plus v, which is 15. And x for 10, 10 plus 6, 6 is vi. That is 16 for you. 17 is 10 plus 7, which is x plus VII. That is 17. 18 is X V triple I for 8. Now 19. What about 19? 19, we have to write X first for 10. Then we need to add. Remember, adding, when you're adding something which is smaller than the existing or the current letter or number or symbol, you add it to the right hand side. And you can do this by saying X, I, X. That is 19. We are taking 1 from 10 to make 9 plus 10. That is 19. 20 is double X. Remember, the green background symbolizes the letter or the symbol that you can repeat it multiple times to the maximum number of 3. That is I, X, C, and M. The ones with the yellow background, you cannot repeat it. You just play around with other letters plus those ones in order to get another value. So 21 is XX. That is 20 plus 1, which is I. Of course, we need to deal with a small I, not capital I. 30. 30 is 10 times 3, which is triple X. Remember, that's the maximum value we can repeat a number. What about 35? We know that 30 is triple X. And then when we add 5, we get 35. So 5 is V. And then 40. 40, we cannot repeat X more than 4 times. So we cannot use X like triple X or quadruple X to make 40. In this case, we need to borrow 50 and then use 50 to make 40 by taking away 10 from 50 to make 40. So to do that, we have to take away 10 from 50. 50 is L to make 40. Now 45. We already have our 40 as, I beg your pardon here, is XL. XL. It should not increase. So we are using 50 now to get anything between 40 and 50. And 40 is our XL there. 45, we need to add 5 to 40. And we know that our 40 is already XL plus 5, which is V. That's 45 for you, my friend. It's not supposed to be capital. Uh, these Roman numerals are very, very complicated because of the ambiguousness and ubiquitousness of the number. By being ambiguous means that one letter can be interpreted in many ways. So is open for different kind of interpretation, and by being or ubiquitous nature. uh, I like this pronunciation. It's very funny. Let me distinguish this by saying something on the board for you. So what I mean by those two terms, ubiquitous. I hope the spelling is correct. XL. XL is our 40, and then we need V, which is the small v. Some people may write capital V, which means thousand from here. That is what I was trying to explain. So L is 50. Now 55 is LV, small v, obviously. And 60 is L, which is 50 plus 10, which is small x. Yeah. And then we have 65. So our 60 is LX, LX, and then we need to put 5, which is V. And then 70, we know that 70 is 50 plus 20. Our 20 is XX. Remember, is XX. Yeah, not capital X. And then 75, we have our 70 already, LXX. And then 5, that is 75 for you. And 80, we have our L for 50 plus 30, which is triple X. That is our 80. Now 85 is L for 50, X, X. X for 80, and then 5. That's 85 for you, my friend. And then 90. Now we cannot repeat X more than 3 times. Now we need to borrow 90 from 100. How do we do that? We go to 100 and we say, hey, 100, which is C. We need to make 90. How can we go about it? Remember, it's capital C. Now 100 will say, yeah, I can give you myself as 100, but you need to take 10 from me in order to get 90. So we have to take 10. So when you're taking away 10, you write X beside C on the left hand side, meaning that we are taking 10 out of 100 in order to make 90. So we have our 90 already, XC. Now we need to use this one to get 95. And 90 will say, hey, come on, I'm here, I'm 90. But you need to do something to make 95. So in that case, you need to get 5 added on top of me so that you become 95. So we just add 5 there. And 5 is just V. It's not capital V. So 100 is C. And then now we have to move to 200. 200, yes, see, I just highlighted it with green background, meaning that we can write it multiple times up to the maximum of 3. So 100 is C, 200 is CC, 300 is CCC. Now 400, we cannot repeat any number in Roman numerals more than 3 times, meaning that we have to borrow 400 from 500. Then 400 will go to 500 and say, come on, 500. Man, I need to make myself as 400. But you know what? See, 100 cannot be repeated more than 3 times. What do I do? 500 will say, hey, come on, man. I'm going to give you myself as D, but you need to do something with me in order to get you. So how do you go about that? Then 400 will say, okay, to make myself 400, I need to take 100 out of 500. And to do that, you just put C before 500. So CD is a way of writing 400. We are saying take away 100 from 4 and 500 in order to make 400, and that is CD. And our D is 500. Now, 500 is less than 600. We cannot now write D or DD or triple or C times 6 to make 600. So what we need to do, 600 will borrow 500. It's like, come on, 500. I'm 600. I'm bigger than you, but I know you can help me make myself. Then 500 will say, okay, I'm going to give myself to you. D is there. But to get yourself at 600, you need to find your level. Go and borrow 100 from somewhere in order to make 600. And then we can now put C there to add to 500 to make our 600. The same thing with 700. We just borrow 2C because C can be repeated more than once. That's why we put the green background there. The same thing is with 800. 800 is D, C, C, C. That is it, my friend. Now, we are here on 1000. 1000 is represented by M. So to write 2000, we can repeat 1000 times 2, or we can add 1000 plus 1000 to get 2000 because M can be repeated. Therefore, 2000 will be double M, and then 3000 will be 3000 will be triple M. You see, now 4000 is where the big issue is. This is where the ubiquitousness and ambiguity is revealed. The ubiquitousness, when I say ubiquitous means that, one thing can appear everywhere in the same manner. That is what I mean by ubiquitousness. And I remember demonstrating this to you previously. So this is now where we need to know about the ubiquitousness. Ubiquitousness is a very complex situation that you must understand when you're dealing with Roman numerals. So the concept of ubiquitous, I like to use ness. Ubiquitousness and ubiquitousness is the same thing found everywhere at the same level. And these are the problem if you don't know how to distinguish the difference between the symbols that we use in Roman numerals. For example, here, 4000. We are now multiplying these small letters by 1,000 to get into thousands of them. For example, if you want 1,000, you can say I bar. I bar means you put an overline on top of I, and then I will be from the bottom. I bar. Let me see, because there's no line, symbol, copy, and paste. I bar is not even here on the internet. This is something which is not even written in a computer. It's the character which is even not there. So how do we now invent the wheel or reinvent the wheel? It's just by saying I bar. Does it mean that we are trying to create something which does not exist? Let me see this. So I think there are certain things that cannot be found on the internet. Even the AI tool cannot produce IBAR. That's why, AI cannot be equivalent to human. Let us go and do it manually. IBAR, let me go to my board. Let me go to my board. This is my board. Okay, what I mean is that when you want 1,000 of I, people write it as I bar. That's what I mean by I bar. You write I and overline, and this is equivalent to 1,000 in Roman numerals. In Roman number is 1,000. This I bar is 1,000 in Roman numerals. This one is in Arabic number, and this is Roman numeral. So this is the small one. This is number one. When you multiply it by 1,000, which is I bar, um, so it's like I times 1 I bar. This is 1,000. This one is 1,000. And this one is equal to 1. You get 1,000. And this one also gives you I bar, because we want to work in terms of 1,000. So, my friend, this is where the ubiquitousness is found. Because if you are to write I, you will find I everywhere. If you don't know how to interpret what this bar means, you may think this I is just for one. Yet it is 1,000. But there's another way of writing 1,000 already, which is capital M is already 1,000. So why on earth do we need to write I and then put the bar on top when we know that we have M already? You see, that is where ubiquitousness is found. Because if you're writing I everywhere, I to mean one, and then I to mean 1,000, that may be confusing. That's why M is neutral. We're trying to make it unique so that when you see M, you know that M is 1,000. That is why I have indicated here as, instead of writing IV, instead of for 4,000, instead of saying IV, which is 4, then bar on top to signify 4,000, yet we already have M for 1,000, and we have V bar for 5,000. This is equivalent to 5,000, and this one is equivalent to 1,000. So now what can we do between 5,000 and 1,000 to get 4,000? Instead of writing these, which means 4 times 1,000, what if we say MV bar? This is also the same. So MV bar is the same as 4,000. And IV bar is also 4,000. You see? So we have different interpretation. This is where ambiguousness is found. We can look at the same thing in different way. And also, there's another way when they write IV, which is capital. Yeah. Capital I and capital V means 4,000. And capital I is also 1,000. Capital V is equal to 5,000. So you can see the combination of ubiquitousness and ambiguousness are combined here, making everything confused and muddled up. Um, you may think I'm trying to muddle it myself, but that is how confusing these Roman numerals are. So I'm going to go by giving you both cases so that your teacher will decide because they are all correct. For example, to write 4,000, for me, myself, I would prefer to write 5,000, which is the special character that I had here. This is my special character for 5,000, and then special character for, I have my special character for 10,000 as well. Yeah. Uh, 10,000 is X bar and bar. So now I know 5,000 and I have 1,000 there. Why can't I just take away 1,000 from the 5,000? Why can't I not do that? Or what is wrong with doing that? You see, that is 4,000. I'm taking away 1,000 from 5,000 to make 4,000. But at the same time, you can write it as IV. Remember, capital I and capital V also is a symbol for 4,000. Or you write IV bar. They're all the same. You see, this is the ambiguousness because you have different way of doing the same thing. The ambiguousness meaning that you can do the same thing in different way. Yeah. So you can see how 5,000 is there. Or you can just write capital V like that to symbolize 5,000 for you. So that capital V is 5,000. And then 6,000. How can you write 6,000? Well, you know that 5,000 is V plus 1,000 gives you 6,000. And we have our V already, V bar, which is 5,000. And then we can just add M there to make 6,000. At the same time, you can write VI. If you are to follow that route, VI. Or small VI bar to make 6,000. All these are accepted. You see, I would accept all of them. This is the ambiguousness, of writing these Roman numerals. Roman numerals is very ambiguous. That's why it's not mainly used in computer system because computer system takes unique number. That's why base 2 produce binary number that we use to represent data, to communicate with data at the level of bit. With this ambiguity or ubiquitousness, we cannot be able to use Roman numbers or Roman numerals in a computer system successfully. So what about 8,000? 8,000. We know that we have 5,000 there. What if we add 3,000 more? We get 8,000 because M can be repeated more than 2 times to the maximum of 3. At the same time, you can write capital VIII for 8,000 as well. Or you can write small v triple I bar, triple small I bar will also give you 8,000. Remember this small v I bar. This bar is for all of them. This bar serves for all of them. It's not only for v, but it's for all of them. That is for 8,000. How about 9,000? My way of writing 9,000 is getting 1,000. We take away 1,000 from 10,000. 10,000 take away 1,000 gives us 9,000. But there's another way of writing it. You can write like you're writing 9, but I, capital I, and then capital X, also to symbolize the same thing. Or you can write small I and small x bar. Yeah, small I and small x. I'm putting the word bar there. Bar is the line on top of these letters to symbolize 9,000. For x, we can have x bar, or we can have capital X. Capital X means 10 times 1,000 to get 10,000. Similarly, we can have 11,000. In my way of simplification, we can have our 10,000 there plus 1,000. That is 11,000 for me. And the way they write it there, which they think is very modern, is that they just write XI, capital X and I, which is a way of saying 10 times 1,000 plus 1 times 1,000 to give us 11,000. Or some people write it as small x I bar to symbolize 10,000 as well. And yeah, and then for 12,000 we write 10,000 plus 1,000 plus another 1,000 will give us 12,000. Or the modern way, they can write x, which symbolizes 10 times 1,000. That is capital X, and then triple I. So double I, capital I means 1,000, 1,000. So 1,000 plus 1,000 is 2,000 plus 10,000. That is 12,000. Or another way of writing it is also small x double I small I bar, which means it means the same thing. So this is where the ambiguousness is found and the ubiquitousness, because you will find I everywhere, and then you can have different interpretation of the same thing. So thank you for viewing. I hope this video has been informative, and if you have any question, please feel free to drop it, and then we will see from there. Thank you.